Hey, welcome. So today we're going to zoom in on a single, really simple word, but don't let its size fool you. It has a powerful, kind of hidden role in our everyday conversations. You probably use it all the time without even thinking, but really mastering it, that's a shortcut to sounding way more natural and fluent. Let's get right into it.
But before we get to our word of the day, let me ask you something. Do you think you could communicate everything you need to say using only 850 words? I mean, it sounds pretty much impossible, right? Well, believe it or not, there's a whole system designed to do exactly that.
And yeah, the answer is a surprising yes. That number, 850, is the magic number for a system called Basic English that was cooked up way back in the 1930s. The whole idea was that if you truly mastered this small set of essential words, you could communicate just about any idea with incredible clarity. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
And that, right there, brings us to our star for today. The word though is one of those essential 850 words. It's a tiny little word, but the fact that it made it onto this super exclusive list tells you it does some serious heavy lifting in the English language.
So what does it actually do? Well, at its heart, though, is all about connecting ideas that don't quite line up, contrasting ideas. And its real power comes from the fact that it has two very common but also very different jobs. And if you can get a handle on both, it's a huge shortcut to sounding more fluent.
Okay, so here are the two key uses we're going to look at. First, there's the concession, where you can think of it as a more casual version of although. And second, there's the afterthought, where it acts a lot like however. Let's break each one down with some really clear examples.
All right, let's dive into that first one, though as a concession. This is what we use when we want to introduce a fact that kind of goes against the main point, but we see it as less important. It signals that contrast right from the beginning of the thought.
Take a look at this. Though sets up an expectation right away. He talked very loudly, okay, so you'd think she heard him, right? But by starting this sentence with though, you're immediately signaling that the result is going to be the opposite of what you'd expect. It perfectly connects the action to a surprising outcome.
And it's also incredibly flexible. Look here, it's squeezed right into the middle of the sentence, separating two contrasting descriptions. The main point, the important thing, is that the problem was real. The secondary detail is that it was also small. Putting though right there connects those two opposing ideas so elegantly.
Now, let's switch gears and look at its second job, which is maybe the one you hear most in everyday conversation, though as an afterthought. This is when you tack on a fact or an opinion at the end of what you're saying to kind of soften it or even slightly contradict it.
We've all said something like this, haven't we? The first statement is a bummer. Our team lost. But by adding, "it was a good game though," that one little word completely changes the feeling. It adds this positive little spin, an afterthought that says, hey, the negative thing isn't the whole story. And here's another perfect example of its conversational power. You might say something like, he studied in Paris for a year, and everyone listening immediately assumes his French is amazing. Then you drop this in. His French, though, isn't very good. See how though, wrapped in commas, acts like a pivot? It just turns the whole expectation on its head.
So what's the big takeaway here? I mean, what does really getting the two sides of though tell us? It tells us that being a great communicator isn't about memorizing thousands and thousands of words. It's about deeply mastering the core ones.
So let's just quickly recap the main lessons here. First off, a small vocabulary, like that basic English list, can be incredibly powerful if you know how to use it. Second, these simple words we use all the time often have multiple really distinct jobs. Third, and this is a big one, understanding the context is the real key to fluency, not just the words themselves. And finally, mastering these keywords, it really is a massive shortcut to becoming a clearer, better communicator. You know, this entire explainer has been about just one of those 850 core words. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What other simple words are out there that you use every single day without unlocking their full potential? So the question I want to leave you with is this: which simple word will you decide to master next?